What is up, humans of the cardboard? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we have another new card revealed from Battle of Chaos, or Bach. Very cool. It is a wind monster, so not a light or dark, which kind of bums me out. I kind of wished that this set would be legendary because it had literally no cards except for lights and darks, but it is what it is. I'm not mad about it because this card looks pretty interesting. So getting in the artwork real quick, cute girl holding a gigantic pair of scissors. All right. Okay. Yeah. Okay, here we go. We have Iro Hamomiji. Sure. I'm sure that won't translate the same. This is a level 7 Wind Fairy Synchro Effect monster. Its stats are 2100, 2700. And its materials are completely generic. Any tuner and any one non-tuner. And this card has 2 hard once return effects as well. The first effect reads, if this card is special summoned, you can declare one attribute. This card gains this effect. All face-up monsters on the field become the declared attribute. Okay, very cool. Secondly, you can target one monster in your opponent's main monster zone as cost. They must send one card in its adjacent monster zones or spell and trap zones to the graveyard. Very interesting. Okay, so a couple of really interesting effects here. First and foremost, gotta love that it's generic. 7 is a very easy level to make generally when it comes to synchros as well. So that is a nice little situation there. First effect's pretty nice, I'm not gonna lie. Even just like, you know, making, like changing the whole board to one attribute, but I think it's the only downside is, how does this work? Is this resolving like a continuous effect? Like you activate this and once it resolves, it's kind of like boom, every face-up monster on the field becomes that even if others are summoned later, or does it only change stuff that's currently on the field to a different attribute? That's definitely something that'll change how good this card is, because if this card like on summon, like, you know, you declare whatever attribute you want that like you think will be awkward for your opponent, and like if that means like continuously every time your opponent summons they'll be changed to that type, then that's actually pretty decent. I mean, there are matchups like Salamangreat that like need fire monsters, because without fire monsters on the field they cannot make Sunlight Wolf, they cannot make Heat Leo. That's a huge problem for them. But even this still could have uses. I mean, if you're playing a deck that plays Super Poly, you can change the whole field to dark, right? And then just be able to resolve Super Poly into like any board, essentially. So that's not too shabby as well. Can't, not too mad about that. And the second effect, you can target one monster in your opponent's, main monster zone. They must send one card in adjacent monster zone. So I believe what this means is that anything that's either like next to or below that card, if they placed it that way, you can force them to send something should there be a viable target there. So kind of like almost like has a Mech Knight-esque feel, kind of punishes your opponent for placing their cards too close together. Obviously not super reliable though, because it is based on like where they're placing things. But I guess there are ways to work around this and really make use of this card. I mean, what if you play Kaijus? And let's say your opponent has 2 monsters on opposite sides of the field. You put a Kaiju next to their other monster, getting rid of one, and then you target the Kaiju. So they can't send the Kaiju, they have to send something in an adjacent column. Well, that would be their other monster. So now with this card and a Kaiju, you outed both of those monsters. Unfortunately, this card's not big enough to get over any Kaijus, but in defense mode, this card could wall off a couple of the Kaijus at the very least. So, but assuming you're making this card, you probably have a little more gas in the tank to continue to play, hopefully, which would be really cool. So, really cool card. I like this design. I think this card could easily come up in a specific deck down the line, but obviously we have to wait and see when that would come up. But really cool. 2 interesting effects. I like it, and it's generic. I love that we just keep getting generic ones. We don't need generically like bombastic, like insane cards, but like cool utility ones that could come up in specific metagames, in specific decks that like can make you better use of it generally. Like really seems kind of cool. So I'm going to leave it off there. Thank you so much for watching. As always, let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on this card. Are there any extra uses? Let me know on this first effect. If you know this ruling, how this will resolve better than I will. Does this become like a continuous effect where every monster summoned is going to continue to become that attribute you declared? Or does this only like, is this like a one-time activated effect that like is going to just hit everything currently on the field and then it's done? I'm honestly not sure. It's worded a little bit different. Like this is weird, right? Like this card gains this effect. It's kind of a weird like way to word it. So just not entirely sure. So let me know your thoughts on that stuff down below in the comments. Please subscribe if you have not yet. You want to stay up to date on all Yu-Gi-Oh card reveals as they come. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.